All right, welcome to Those Guys podcast with two guys with zero NIL money that have all the opinions. So, Troy, what do you think about this last Saturday, Sunday, and I think some games are on Friday? Wow, I mean, I'm disappointed to say the least, but I
Why are
don't
you
know.
disappointed, Chris?
You
Why are you
know,
disappointed?
some things didn't go my way, but that's okay. It's a long season.
What exactly didn't go your way, Chris?
We don't have to talk about it.
Hey, Texas is irrelevant. We don't talk about Texas on this show,
What are
so I
you
don't want to hear the
talking
word
about?
Texas leave your mouth. But guess what? Those Tigers
What?
went into fake Death Valley and took care of business, Chris. They are back.
Fake Death
I don't
Valley?
fake Death Valley. That's not the real Death Valley, Chris.
I don't know about that.
No one wants to hear about Clemson anymore. So Clemson or Texas. As a matter of fact, horns down, baby.
What? We played the returning
Hey.
national champions.
Yeah,
What are
and
we
they
talking
had a
about?
chance to redeem themselves from last year because who knocked Texas out of the playoffs last year?
Okay, what does that have to do with anything?
They had a chance to redeem themselves this year.
Troy, okay, it's a long season. We're going to see Ohio State again. We're going to see them again.
You know who Texas needs to worry about? They need to worry about Scotty Walden and his crew from UTEP because you know what? They're going to roll into Austin this week and they're going to take care of business, Chris.
What? Okay, calm
Hey.
down. Are you talking about San Jose State?
Hey, the Longhorns need to worry about those Miners.
Wait, I thought, isn't Texas playing San Jose State?
Nope, they're playing. They should be playing UTEP.
Hold on. Troy,
Wait.
like usual, I think you're wrong, but
Actually, no. Yeah, that's next week, Chris. It's the following week.
see, don't get your panties in a bunch, man. Don't get too excited.
Fine.
Trust me. We're
Hey.
going to take care of our next opponent, and then we're
Okay.
going to take care of those
In
UTEP
2 weeks,
Miners.
they got
I don't
they
care
got
if
the
they
Miners
have
coming into town.
Malachi Nelson, Johnny Nelson, Nelson from down the street, Nick Nelson. I don't care what Nelson it is. We are going to take care of first San Jose State and then UTEP. Those are two easy dubs, Troy, and then we'll be back on track.
That sounds like a pretty easy schedule there.
No. Let's look at LSU's schedule. We want to talk about.
Hey, you know we
schedule.
got Law Tech lined up next. That'll be a good
Law
tune-up game. But
Tech.
then the Gators the Gators are coming into Death Valley, so you know and then they'll be back on track. So
Troy, all I could say about the Gators coming to town in a few weeks is chomp, chomp, chomp. They're chomping on LSU's head, man. Chomp, chomp, chomp.
well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But in the meantime, I'm gonna enjoy this win, knocking off the 4th-ranked team in the nation. I mean, LSU. Let's be real. The last couple of season openers haven't been good. Losing against a couple Pac-12 teams, losing against Florida State 2 years in a row. Man, this needed to happen. So this was a big win for LSU and Brian Kelly. There was a lot of questions going in. However, they took care of business, man. I really wish that I would have saw a little bit more consistency on offense, but I will say it was a hard-fought battle pretty much throughout the entire game. It went all the way down to the last couple minutes in the 4th quarter. And I think as college football fans, we could appreciate that. However, go ahead and throw on that mask because a bet's a bet.
Dang, I
Right?
thought you forgot about the mask, Troy. Do I have to wear it?
Go ahead, throw that on. Throw that sucker on.
Oh, man, here we go. Yeah, I can't believe I have to wear this mask of shame. I should have
You gotta
never
wear it
made
to the
that
entire
bet.
podcast, Chris. The entire podcast.
I don't know if I could do the entire podcast. I have about 10 minutes in me.
No, you can take that off. You look ridiculous.
Hey, I'll wear it for a bit. And then I have to take this mask of shame.
All right, man. But on a serious note, I know with all trash talk aside, obviously both of our teams had, some pretty big games week 1. You as a college fan, I mean, I think, like I mentioned earlier, I could appreciate the fact that we kicked off the college football season like this. I mean, Ohio State, Texas, that's a key matchup along with Notre Dame, Miami, and LSU and Clemson. I mean, man, it was an exciting week 1 for sure. I don't know if you were able to tune into any other games besides, the Texas-Ohio State one, but low scoring affair. But like I mentioned earlier, man, it was a battle. So good defense was being played. I mean, obviously fans want to see more points be put up on the scoreboard, but man, that's just good football. So Obviously, Arch Manning kind of had some plays there that he needs to clean up. But I think as a young quarterback, man, he'll progress throughout the season. He'll get better.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess we'll start with Texas, Ohio State, and then we'll move on. Yeah, I mean, Arch, he missed some throws. He looked frazzled. Ohio State had a great game plan. I mean, Matt Patricia, right, worked under Belichick as his D coordinator during Super Bowl years. He was a head coach, didn't have as much success as a head coach in the NFL, but when it comes to defensive masterminds, you could put Matt Patricia up there, arguably with some of the greats like Buddy Ryan and some of the other great head coaches that were defensive masterminds. So, no, he out-schemed us. Matt Patricia did. Ryan Day had a good game plan. He protected his, freshman quarterback in Julian Sayin. Put together, some good stuff. Ran the ball. Of course, believe it or not, Texas actually had a better running game than them, but they were able to get the tough yards when it counted. On the goal line, they got that touchdown after a few penalties.
Yeah.
Key third downs, our key second downs where it was close yardage, they were able to get it. So, what could I say? I mean, Ryan Day had a great game plan. His guys came out. It was a tough defensive affair, but Ohio State secondary they reigned superior, and unfortunately Texas lost. And hey, it's a long season with this.
That's a tough matchup, man. First game of the season, especially for Arch Manning. I know a lot of people were kind of crapping on him on like X and everything like that. However, man, that's a tough game. First game of the season. So typically, even LSU going, playing against Clemson, I love the tougher matchups, but let's be real, it's usually ugly the first week. There's so much improvement that happens between week 1 and week 2. So I'm hoping to see that offense take the next step for LSU, and I'm sure that you're wishing to kind of see the same thing from Texas.
Absolutely. And I'm confident they're going to take the next step. I mean, Sark's going to get the boys together, refocus.
All right, you got to take that mask off. I can't even take you serious.
All right, cool. I'm finally going to.
I don't even think it fits your face.
But, no, I mean, Sark's going to get the boys together, and they're going to refocus, and Texas will have a better outcome as the year progresses. So I'm not too worried. Outside of that, Troy, what were some other games that stuck out to you from this past weekend?
So, man, I will say the Boise State and South Florida game was pretty cool to watch. Typically, I normally
about that quite a bit.
Yeah, I pull for Boise a lot, especially since they made the playoffs last year. I wanted to see them make a playoff run, but I will tell you this, man, USF, and I'm not going to let the score reflect what kind of Boise team, what kind of team Boise is this year. I do think that they have some good pieces there. They looked pretty quick at the running back position at times. I think that first series they looked pretty explosive. They have a really solid quarterback. They just couldn't get clicking early on. So, and I will say USF's defense, they were pretty stout, man. They created some pressure, and they got after Boise State pretty quick. There was a fake punt that USF actually did to kind of get back in the game and kind of seize momentum there. They scored off of it, and that was after that, man. It was all USF. But yeah. I wasn't really paying attention to a lot of USF in the off season, but I know that they got a lot of transfers. Man, they did a pretty good job in the transfer portal. You don't hear a lot of things about USF. And they used to be Conference USA, and they kind of moved around a little bit. Now they're in the American. There's talks of them going to a different conference later on. But it's good for the program. They needed a win like that. And, they need more fan support down there in Tampa. They're trying to build a new on-campus stadium. So I think once that actually happens, you're looking at another UCF for sure in that area.
For sure. What was also pretty neat? Something that wasn't really mentioned, but the Grammatica kicking family, right?
Yeah.
I believe both brothers went to South Florida, and I forget which brother has a son now as the kicker at South Florida, but wow, that family, right? They just keep popping up as kickers at South Florida, right? So that was pretty cool.
Yeah. No, man, that game was good. I think now I'll follow up, next week. I don't know who they have next week, but I'll try to tune in for a little bit, see if they can carry that momentum over. But I thought some other good games. Georgia Tech, Colorado, that was a pretty good matchup.
Oh, yes.
Pretty good battle, man. I will say Haynes King, he looked like he got hurt early on for Georgia Tech because he wasn't moving around as, typically like how he normally does. But, I thought Georgia Tech looked pretty good for a while there. The first half, it started off really slow for them. At times it looked like Colorado had an opportunity to kind of just, put it on them. I think they pretty much started off the game with like 3 turnovers, I believe. Georgia Tech did. And they somehow were still able to come back and win the game, man. It was that was a fun one to watch. One that I wasn't too crazy about, I tuned in to Nebraska and Cincinnati. Now, nothing about those teams, but man, I kept seeing Taylor Swift in the press box, and they were talking about the engagement and stuff like that. So, yeah, if I could stay clear from that, I'm okay. But it wasn't really an exciting game. I think Nebraska's good, and it was a good win for them. But it just, I don't know, just wasn't really, my cup of tea on that.
But you know what? That goal line interception was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree. But, man, to me, it just wasn't, like I said, it wasn't very exciting. I was expecting Nebraska's offense to come out and put a couple more points up on the board, but Cincinnati has a tough defense, and I like their head coach. Their head coach was formerly at, App State whenever they had all that success. So, but, yeah, we'll see. I'm going to follow up with Nebraska, too. Hopefully, we can get them going and get that program officially turned around. As far as the point
I'm a big go ahead, Troy.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, dude.
No, I was saying I'm a big Matt Rule fan. I just like how he coaches. I like how he develops his players. I like the mindset that he has as a coach with his program. Just overall a good coach. I liked him in the NFL. I know it didn't work out with Carolina, but his style, I would want to play for a guy like that. So shout out to Matt Rule.
Where I started to really follow up with him was whenever he was at Temple. So he did a really good job with the Temple Owls, and he wasn't there very long, but obviously his play style I guess got them a lot of success. But because now Temple's not as great, they got a new coach in there too, so we'll see what happens there. But following up with him since he's been at Temple, I've always liked him as a coach. I thought he's done a real good job with the programs, and he'll turn those programs around. So I think Nebraska hired a good one for sure. They just need to kind of give him time, and I think he'll take them back to where they once were. Once again, not really. I didn't follow Nebraska too much, but back then when Bo Pelini was running the show, I really think Nebraska fans, obviously they kind of wanted something different, right? But man, I think they took Bo Pelini for granted, honestly, because he always had them pretty competitive. They were always like a 9-4 team. They weren't necessarily going to the BCS championship back then, but they were a good team, fun to watch, usually put up a decent amount of points, knocked off a couple of big opponents throughout the year. So it was, to me, back then, they were, pretty solid, pretty fun to watch.
Definitely. And Troy, that just, the Big Ten had a really good week, right?
Yeah.
You had Penn State, who dominated. Wisconsin got a win. Of course, Michigan beat New Mexico. Bryce Underwood.
What did I say about Jason Eck and his crew, man? Jason Eck, he's a heck of a coach.
It wasn't a bad game, though.
No.
I thought they were going to get blown out, but they kept it decent.
Man, and that's the thing. Jason Eck is a heck of a coach. And I remember telling you this, that, whoever picks this guy up, their team is going to turn around pretty quick. And man, the Lobos came out there, they need to hold their heads up pretty high because, man, they played pretty well. Obviously, I wish they could have put a couple more touchdowns on the board, but man, they did their thing. It's not easy playing in front of 100,000 people, and first game of the season. So expect some big things for the Lobos this year, man. I really think they're going to make a bowl game, and they're going to have some success. for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean, shout out to the Lobos keeping it somewhat competitive. Of course, Bryce Underwood, he looked good. 5-star recruit, top quarterback in the nation in last year's recruiting class. He came in for Michigan. He had a really good key block to spring a touchdown.
Yeah.
He threw the ball well. Nice dual threat. So, yeah, I mean, Michigan's a team to look out for. New Mexico, I'll be interested to see how their season plays out, like you said.
Yeah.
If they make a bowl game. Of course, I'm curious to see the UNM NMSU rivalry game, see how that plays out. So, hey, shout out to NMSU, New Mexico State, for getting a win. I mean, I know they're playing Bryant, but Logan Fife, he had some good throws. He threw a dart into the end zone between, two people?
Yeah.
So, I mean, the kid can play.
Man, I will say that was NMSU's missing piece last year. Because, I mean, if you look at their schedule last year, they had Liberty on the ropes pretty much, right? So they were about to win that game. They just lost it in the last couple of minutes. But they just did not have the quarterback last year that was going to take them to that next level. They had a couple close games where they could have had a 500 season. But, man, Logan Fife, I thought he played really well. And Bryant, man, they were bringing the heat. So they were sending different, blitz packages after him. And, I thought he played pretty well, especially for his first game. I will say that I was a little concerned with the offensive line at times. I think NMSU's offensive line is pretty young. I think Coach Tony Sanchez even said the same thing. It's just they're learning how to play together. And hopefully they just, get some confidence after that game and, go back to the drawing board, have a good week of practice, and get ready for University of Tulsa. So, man, that's going to be a tough matchup. So, TU's pretty good. They whipped up on Abilene Christian this weekend. But, man, they always have some good-sized athletes. They always have some good speed. TU is definitely one of those teams that is just, they come in waves, man. Some weeks they're ready to play, and then some weeks they come out flat. But they're going to be a tough opponent. If you're in the Las Cruces area this weekend, be sure to stop by and check out that game. It's going to be a fun game. It's a quality opponent. And if NMSU wins, I think that would be, kind of like a game changer for them, because that shows that they're taking the right step in the right direction. The American Conference, which is a bigger conference than the Conference USA, they play a lot of good teams in that conference. So that would be a pretty good win for the Aggies. I mean, the rest that would, send some more, that give them some more momentum throughout the rest of the season, in my opinion. So
yes, and of course for our fans out there, of course, barring anything that comes up, Troy and I are actually hoping to attend that game.
Yeah.
And give you all some insights from New Mexico State versus Tulsa. We'll let you know, of course, if plans change, but as of right now, that's the plan, and we think it will be really awesome to give you guys some insights going into that game. Outside of that, Troy, let's kick it over to some SEC ball. Two things. Number one, what did you think about Alabama looking pitiful against Florida State? Is Florida State truly back as a national powerhouse, or is Alabama just fallen off ever since the retirement of Coach Saban?
Man, I'll be honest. I didn't really watch that game that much. I kind of just followed up with the scoreboard. So I don't know the details of kind of what took place, but it seems like Alabama has kind of fallen off a little bit. Maybe they just, they don't have that killer instinct, I guess, that they normally have. They're just not the same Bama, I guess, that they were with Nick Saban. And I think a lot of us knew that was going to happen anyway. But I mean, how long was Saban there at Bama? I mean,
since 2007, right?
Yeah. So I mean, man, that's tough when you lose a coach that has spent that long down there building a program, building a dynasty. It's tough to lose a coach like that, and it's gonna take some. I mean, they're just gonna have to kind of get used to a new style of things, a new approach, and the players are really gonna have to buy in. I really think they'll come around. They'll be competitive. I just don't think they're going to be the same Bama that we're used to seeing. The one that's just so dominant, and the ones that teams don't look forward to playing. So yeah, I don't know. What was your take on that?
No, similar sentiments, Troy. I mean, of course, Nick Saban, the standard with Nick Saban was always excellence, right? If they didn't win the national championship, he considered it a losing season. So when you go from that to Coach DeBoer, even though Coach DeBoer is a good coach, I like him. I like the work he did.
He did good things at Washington. Like he's a good coach.
But I just think for whatever reason, maybe they're not getting the same recruits that Alabama's used to getting under Saban. Maybe they're not getting the same coaching staff. I know Saban brought a lot of NFL guys in to coach, and he just had a lot of connections. But as we can see, Troy, at the end of Saban's career, he was getting frustrated as well. Maybe in this new NIL era, it's harder for teams like Alabama to dominate because 5-star recruits and top recruits, they're able to go to the highest bidder rather than just, in the past they would pick a team that was a proven powerhouse, right? It was about what team's going to make me pro ready. And now I think a lot of the top recruits are like, okay, what team could give me the best, incentive package or NIL package? So maybe that's playing into it too. Yeah,
and Coach Norvell too, last year they had an off season, Florida State did. So they didn't do good. So I wasn't expecting them to come out and smack Alabama in the mouth first game of the season. That's just something that I wasn't expecting. I knew it would probably be close, but man, like I said, that first game of the season, it's kind of a weird thing to witness. Like I said, the last 3 or 4 years, I witnessed LSU just get smashed on by UCLA, USC, Florida State. So it's just I've witnessed it too, and then they've gone out the rest of the year and have done pretty well. But man, I don't know. I'm hoping that's not the case. Hopefully Alabama can bounce back. Me being an SEC guy and stuff, you want to see that, right? You want to make sure that the SEC stays, the superior conference, in my opinion. So that's.
I don't know, Troy. Big Ten's looking pretty good.
Big Ten is tough, man. And you kind of saw it in the playoffs last year, though, too, where. I think that there's such a disadvantage as these guys in the Big Ten, they're used to playing in cold weather, man. And there's blizzards up there. Then you get a team like Tennessee, or you get, someone in the deep South go up north and having to play a playoff game. It can be kind of rough. So, but we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out. But Big Ten, man, they've been looking pretty tough.
Speaking of Tennessee, Troy, what did you think of Tennessee? They look good. We saw the informal trade or swap of how do you pronounce his name, Troy? Nico. I can't pronounce his last name, but he was a really good quarterback for Tennessee, 5-star recruit. He went to UCLA, of course, over the NIL dispute. And then Tennessee ended up getting their quarterback, Joey Aguilar, and Joey Aguilar looked really good. Is Tennessee a national championship contender, or did they just have a good first game? What do you think, Troy?
They played against Syracuse. Once again, I didn't catch much of that game, so I don't know what kind of caliber Syracuse is, but I don't think they're going to be. I don't think they're going to be a national championship contender right now. But I'll kind of. For when it comes to Tennessee, I might have to wait until later on throughout the year to see how they do.
Okay, so you're more of a wait and see.
Yeah, obviously I thought they were pretty good going into the playoffs last year, and that wasn't the case. They lost early on, and to Ohio State, I believe, right? So
yes,
man, it's just all going to depend on how the year shapes up. Like I said, a surprise SEC team that I think that people need to kind of watch out for is Vanderbilt. And I'm not just saying that.
Vanderbilt. Oh, my goodness. Man, you love Vanderbilt.
Yeah, man. Obviously, Diego Pavi's down there tearing it up, doing his thing. Once again, it's hard to kind of evaluate where they're going to be at this year. However, they played Charleston Southern, and they took care of business, man. When you play an FCS school, you want to see good offense, good defense, good special teams, not a lot of penalties, no injuries, and that's what Vanderbilt did. They went in there and took care of business. The final score, I think it was 42 to, it was low. I think it might have been 3 or something. But, man, Diego Pavi looks good. Eli Stowers looks good. I'm not saying that Vanderbilt is going to make the playoffs or the SEC championship. But I think they're going to do some pretty big things this year. And I know that they're going to create some chaos in the SEC just because they've always been that overlooked team, right? And we saw last year after the Bama game, they gave Texas fits. They beat Kentucky. They lost to Tennessee. But, I mean, all those games were close. And I think you have a chance to really they have a chance to really do something special this year, man. And I hope to see it. So I like that staff. I really think it's Diego Pavi's last year, so hopefully it's a special one for him. And, it should be fun. So
exactly. Hey, Troy, so just a fun fact, how you pronounce the UCLA quarterback's name, Nico, the phonetic way to announce it is Ia Malayeva. So in case you wanted to know how to pronounce it, it's
not going to even attempt it. So
Ia Malayeva. So there you go, Troy. Hey, so before we switch gears and talk about some smaller FCS schools and D2 schools, initial thoughts on that Miami Hurricane Notre Dame Fighting Irish matchup, Troy. What did you think of that game?
To be real, man, I thought Notre Dame was going to come out and dominate, honestly. So
really,
I did. But after watching last night, they got off to a very slow start, and obviously it was a good game up until the end. But, man, Miami kind of gave them everything that they could handle, right? And Miami, the momentum kind of changed the second half, right? Notre Dame started getting a little bit more momentum, and Miami kind of started to stall out. But they did enough to win. So, we'll see. I don't know. What did you think?
No, same thing, yeah. I mean, Carson Beck, he looked good early, had some good throws, threw a few touchdowns. So, hey, I don't know if he, that was just a good first game or if he's going to kind of, be in the Heisman conversation as the year progresses. I don't know if he's worth $4 million, but he looked pretty good.
I mean, they came out and beat Notre Dame. So, he did his job. Carr as well from Notre Dame. I thought he did well. They got after him early on, and there was some questionable play calling when they got into the red zone. I probably would have ran a couple more screens,
sure,
to maybe get inside the end zone. But man, it was a tough. They had a lot of success running on the outside. So I was actually watching the game with one of my buddies, and he was just like, "What do you think? Are you gonna dive up the middle here?" I'm like, man, Miami to me was just dominating the line of scrimmage. So they came out pretty tough.
Yeah, I mean, Corey Heatherman, good defensive coordinator, huh?
Yeah,
his defense came out and they were hyped, man. I mean, what? Fumbles, interceptions, about 5 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
At the end of the game, back-to-back sacks by Reuben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor. So, Troy, I'm telling you, he had that defense rocking, man.
Yeah.
So, we'll see if they can keep that tempo, but I like that Miami defense.
Hey, one thing that I didn't mention earlier, now that we're talking about defense and defensive coordinators, shout out to LSU's defensive coordinator, Blake Baker, because, man, that dude, I'll tell you what, Clemson's tough. I don't like Clemson, but they're tough. And LSU's defense has been real shaky these last couple of years. Florida State, I remember, was just gashing the defense. During their season opener, that one, it was like a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I believe. And, man, I'll tell you what, LSU's defense, they came out tough. And I remember kind of texting my dad, on that final drive. I'm like, LSU's going to mess around, let this game go into overtime, in overtime. Man, defense held strong, got a turnover on downs, got the ball back. So shout out to, LSU's defense because they came out tough. So
Troy, I'm a big fan of Harold Perkins Jr., man. I think any NFL team that gets him, they're getting a stud, man. He's a disruptor for sure.
Absolutely. But, LSU's defense, they got after it. So,
yeah.
You want to switch gears to some smaller school action?
Sure, Troy. So, start us off, Troy. I know you have a lot to say about that Tarleton State Army game.
Hey, what I will say about Tarleton State is, man, in 2 weeks, they went from coast to coast kicking ass.
Tell us about that, Troy.
Week 1, they go to Portland State. They beat Portland State 42-0. And then the following week, they go to Army And then they go up to Army, man. They take that game into double overtime and ended up walking out with a win. So, I knew Army was going to have their hands full when I saw that they played Tarleton State this year. And, man, especially after that first game. Now, granted, Portland State hasn't scored a point this season so far in 2 games. They got their butts kicked. They lost to BYU to 69-0. But Tarleton State's tough, man. The reason why I am following up with them is because they're probably going to be the next. And you're going to hear it right now. They're going to be the next school to go up to FBS. And the reason why I say this is because their enrollment numbers are up. All of their sports are pretty successful. They just, I think they put some finishing touches to their new stadium, and it seats about 20,000 people. So, man, I will say they're going to be the next school to, make that jump. And what conference they go to, I have no idea. Sure. So, especially this day and age, but they're a tough opponent, man. I think they're going to go pretty far this year in the FCS playoffs. Another game that I said last week to kind of keep your eyes on was NSU, so Northeastern State University here in Oklahoma. They went up to Saginaw Valley State, and they went ahead and gave them an upset. So the final score was 28-21, but, man, that has been that's a huge win for NSU at the D2 level because NSU has not had a lot of success these last couple years. So for them to travel all the way to Michigan and get a win week 1 against a very good Saginaw Valley State, man, that's awesome. So I'm happy. I'm happy for Coach Chev down there at NSU, and hopefully they can keep the momentum going. I think this week they got Missouri S&T, so hopefully they start the season off 2-0. And as far as New Mexico Highlands and Eastern New Mexico University go,
what a game!
That was a pretty good game, man. It went back and forth. So Eastern New Mexico had the momentum early on, but it went down to the final minutes. Once again, New Mexico Highlands pulled it out, won 35-28. That's a tough loss for Eastern New Mexico, and a good win for New Mexico Highlands. So this week I'm going to be following up with Highlands because they're playing Western New Mexico University. So you're going to have the Battaglia Bowl this week. So it should be a fun one to watch, man. They're probably going to be back and forth. Western New Mexico had a big win this week against Adams State. I believe the final score was 35-21. Western New Mexico pulled it out late in the fourth quarter. They just kind of captured the momentum and had a couple turnovers go their way to close out that game. So, man, we're going to have a lot of good D2 football this week. So tune in. If I know a lot of people probably don't follow up with D2 scores. Man, watching that stuff live or, being able to watch a D2 game online, it's fun. So if you're close by, go check one out. Especially out here in the Oklahoma area. You got tons of teams playing throughout the week. So,
Troy, did you tune in? Did you tune in to the biggest upset of the week, which is Presbyterian College in Clinton, South Carolina? Their upset of Mercer, and Presbyterian is a non-scholarship team, by the way. So,
I didn't realize they were a non-scholarship team. I know they're a Baptist university.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that they didn't have scholarship. So, but I didn't tune into that game. But man, that's congrats to them. That's a good win for them. But yeah, I will say the biggest D2 upset this week was University of Texas Permian Basin versus UCO, University of Central Oklahoma. So I can't remember the final score of that game. However, UTPB, man, those guys are rolling. So they have a young head coach too. I think he's our age, or if not a little younger than us. So it's cool to see. That program is relatively new. It's been around maybe 6-7 years, if that. But they're rolling. So I think UCO was ranked number 4 in D2, and they're a tough team. Man, I've been to the campus of UCO. It's beautiful out there. Their stadium is awesome. They have a cool little water feature there. It's pretty legit. It's a good place to watch some good football, and you always have some good athletes coming out of that school. And also history was made. University of Texas Rio Grande Valley hosted their
Yes.
first
Talk about
game.
that.
Yeah. It wasn't on campus. They have an off-campus stadium. However, they hosted Sol Ross State University. They hosted the Lobos there in Edinburgh, Texas. There was about 12,000, 13,000 fans in attendance. So it was a good showing for their first game. They dominated. I believe they won 66-0. So, man, that team, they announced a couple years ago that they were starting a football program. And, man, they took care of business. It was cool to watch. I tuned into that for a little bit. Hopefully, I wish them success for the rest of the year. Their schedule, they're playing a lot of D2, D3 schools, and then they'll jump into their Southland Conference schedule. But yeah, man, it's and also shout out to Oklahoma Panhandle State. The Aggies coming up big in Nebraska and Peru, Nebraska. So they went ahead and they beat Peru State 10-9. So with a late game-winning field goal, man. So good for them. Good job, Aggies. Hopefully, I don't know who they got next week. I'll have to follow up.
Yeah, definitely.
So those are the games that no one cares about, and this is why we say the podcast that does not matter. So
No, that's good, Troy. And last thing I'll say about Presbyterian College, their quarterback looked pretty good. Colin Hurst, he threw over 300 yards, I think a couple of touchdowns. So honestly, hey, if for whatever reason you want to follow Presbyterian College football, hey, some players to look out for, right? Last thing, Troy, before we transition, what do you think of South Dakota? Is it South Dakota State, right? What do you think of how they're going to do this year? Are they FCS National Championship contenders, or do you think somebody will knock them off? What do you think?
Man, I honestly, I don't even know who South Dakota State played this last weekend. I did see a little bit of the South Dakota-Iowa State game, but South Dakota kind of got beat up on Iowa State. I will say, let me check the results here. Okay, yeah, they ended up playing Sacramento State this last weekend. They beat them 20-3. Man, for these FCS schools and these smaller schools, I have to see a couple games into the season to see to give you a very good or to give you a decent answer. Just because, man, a lot of these kids from previous years, they go to bigger schools. I mean, they're using these D1AAs as JUCOs essentially now with the way the transfer portal works. Because Sacramento State last year, they were pretty tough. They were a hard team to beat. So, that's a quality opponent, first game of the season. I will say South Dakota State's going to always be a contender because they always make the playoffs, it seems like, at the FCS level. Them and North Dakota State. I was a little disappointed to see Montana State go down like that against Oregon.
Yeah.
Now, and I get it. People are like, "Hey, it's Oregon." I don't know what Oregon's ranking is this year, but Oregon's offense looked good. They put up a lot of points against Montana State, but typically Montana State's one of those schools, man. If they're coming to your house and play, they're going to give you a game. Right? So It doesn't matter if you're Oregon, doesn't matter. Ask the Lobos last year. They got upset by Montana State.
Yeah.
So, it was, that was kind of a disappointing game to watch. I was looking forward to it. I tuned in. Montana State couldn't get anything going. They had a couple big turnovers at the very beginning, and they just, they had a lot to deal with versus Oregon.
Oh, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how their season plays out and everything like that.
Hey, Idaho kept it close with Washington State, though.
There we go.
Yeah, I think it was like a 10-9 game or something like that. So, it can't, it was very competitive. I tuned in the first half, but there wasn't a bunch of scoring going, and I think I ended up knocking out just because, like, those West Coast games, man, it's tough to stay up for me now. I used to be able to do it when I was a lot younger, but now I'm chasing two kids around. It's harder to keep up with that. I used to love watching Hawaii playing in the middle of the night up until midnight, but man, I can't do it anymore. So, I checked the score the following morning. The final score of that game was 13-10.
Oh,
pretty good game, man. It was a tight one. Yeah. Hopefully Idaho could carry some of that momentum they had last year into this season, and it seems like they're doing a pretty good job of doing that. I don't know what Washington State. I don't know who they returned or what they have going on. Washington State's one of those teams that it's like I never really keep up with. I did obviously when Mike Leach was there, and but yeah, and Rolovich, I liked him. So, but lately they just kind of have fell off my radar. So
Yeah, good deal, good deal. All right, Troy. So now I want to transition to some local high school ball, and then we'll do our preview of next week, and then that'll be the show. So,
okay,
yeah. So an exciting week locally in Las Cruces for high school ball this past Friday, Saturday. Oh, and I think a couple games are on Thursday too. Now that we have, four or more high schools, they have to spread out the games, and there's multiple home games. But
yeah,
no, we'll start off with Mayfield. Unfortunately, they lost a close one to, I believe it's West Mesa. I think it was 21-27, and that sets the stage for their big matchup this upcoming Friday against Oregon Mountain. So, Oregon Mountain, they had an exciting win. They had a last-second win against Deming, game-winning catch. So that's going to be an exciting matchup.
Was it a last-second catch?
Yeah, last-second catch,
oh,
I think, with 0 seconds left. So exciting stuff. So Oregon, they're coming in off of that high, and then you have Mayfield, they're eager for a win. So should make a really good battle.
Hey man, and those Deming Wildcats, those Deming Wildcats are pretty tough, man. They got
scrappy,
Silver City, huh?
They're scrappy.
Yeah, no, definitely. Man, they have Silver City this weekend, so hopefully they can bounce back. I know they're starting off 0-2, but I'm hoping that they get. I mean, that'd be a big win against a rival.
Yeah,
and hopefully, I love that coaching staff down there. So they actually coached me whenever we went to the North-South All-Star game. So Coach Perales, he's got those guys. He'll get those guys. He'll get them where they need to be, and hopefully they could, grab a couple of wins early on, kind of balance out that record.
So yeah, Cruces High took care of business against Volcano Vista. They had a pretty good win. Their run game looked great. I think the same person scored 4 touchdowns. Their star running back, Danny Amaro, and then Centennial took care of business. They killed Atrisco Heritage. I think the score was like 49-6. So they took care of business. Shout out to Gadsden High School, who had some really convincing wins their last 2 weeks. They're starting off 2-0. They have a game coming up against Clint. So I'm excited to see what Gadsden does. Shout out to Coach Facio, really rebuilding that program and making them competitors. I don't know, Troy. Gadsden, are they looking like 5A state championship competitors, or do you think they have a ways to go?
I still think they have a ways to go, but I will say they have been headed in the right direction these past couple of years. I think Coach Facio's done a pretty good job because, especially with us growing up, we know like the reputation Gaston had, right? They just weren't very good in football. However, I think he's doing. They had it was just harder for them because they didn't have as much depth as everyone else did in the area, right? So they had some players that played their hearts out, but it just. Depth kind of took over that second half, would always take over that second half, and they could never get anywhere. They couldn't go that next step. Now, hopefully Coach Facio keeps it up, man. I would definitely like to see them win state. I think that would be awesome for the Valley, for sure. Yeah. That would be something I would have never thought I would witness. So I hope they could reach that point eventually.
That would be exciting. I'm always for, local teams, local kids, accomplishing things like a state championship. I'm hoping, obviously, Troy bias there because we went to Las Cruces High, so we always want to see the Bulldogs win state. But heck, even if Centennial or Mayfield or Oregon Mountain won state, it would be great. Anything to keep the trophies down in southern New Mexico, it's a win, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, no, definitely, man. Out here, I wasn't able. Once Thursday hit, I'm not gonna lie. Once Thursday hit, we knew we had some good college football happening. I was glued to the screen. There were a couple good games in this area, though. I know Broken Arrow. They went out to Arkansas. They played a team. I think it's in the Bentonville area. And they ended up winning. It was 35-14, so, they're starting their season off 1-0. And I believe they had the Battle of the Burbs here in Tulsa. So it's basically like a north and south game. It's Owasso High School, which Owasso's a suburb north of Tulsa, and then Bigsby, which is a suburb south of Tulsa. They played at TU, so they had a decent crowd there. There's probably about maybe 20,000 people there, from my understanding. Maybe not that much. I'm not entirely sure, but pretty good crowd, enough to host it on the campus of University of Tulsa. Bigsby ended up pulling that one out 49-21. That game happened Thursday night. That's probably one that I should have checked out. I just had some stuff going on here at the house. But I mean, I was still able to kind of follow up with it a little bit. So, and I think Union High School, they played Bentonville, I believe. Bentonville, Arkansas. And I think they got whooped up on a little bit. These Arkansas teams too, man, they're on the come up. That whole Bentonville area and Rogers, Arkansas area. I mean, those little cities are starting to kind of just blossom, and they're getting a ton of people. So,
Troy, I could be wrong. Not to cut you off, Troy, but
you're fine.
Wrong. Isn't Bentonville the birthplace of Walmart?
Yeah, it is.
That's cool.
So, yeah, man, there's a lot of. I'm about 2 hours away from Bentonville. I've been out there. Beautiful area. I mean, northwestern part of Arkansas it's nice, man. There's a lot of money out there for sure, but everything just seems like brand new. It's clean. So yeah, it's a very good area to go to school. And
is that Ozarks area, Troy? Get my geography right. Is that the Ozark area?
I believe so, yeah. So
okay.
That whole area, man, is starting to kind of blossom. So
nice.
Yeah. I think you're able to actually, I think they have like a Walmart museum out there. I haven't checked it out, but yeah, you can check that out whenever you're down here.
Good deal. All right, Troy. Well, let's transition into our final segment. So just some predictions about next week. I'm going to throw a few FBS games, and then we can talk about some smaller schools.
Yeah.
So the big one next week, Troy, Michigan, Oklahoma. Who do you have?
Oh, man. So Oklahoma, that was kind of a confusing game to watch for me. I mean, they handled business. They beat Illinois State 35-3. But, man, I don't know. And obviously Michigan, they had problems with UNM at times. So I'm going to go ahead and say Michigan, and I'm going to give Michigan 24, and I'm going to say OU 21. I'm going to keep it close.
24-21, Troy?
Yep.
Okay, so get this, Troy. I have 28-14 Oklahoma winning.
Okay.
I love that high-powered offense. And, again, I'm a big Venables guy. I like
him too. I don't think he had a fair shot, man, in OU.
No.
I know a lot of people give him crap with everything. I mean, he took this role on, as OU was headed to the SEC, and I mean, yeah, he hasn't had a fair shot, man. So
no. But I got 28-14 Oklahoma winning. I think Bryce Underwood's going to struggle a bit. But Michigan, of course, they'll bounce back. But Oklahoma will win that game. Let's see, Troy, Kentucky, Ole Miss. Who do you got? I know, good SEC matchup.
Who did Kentucky play last week? I know we might have mentioned it earlier.
Was it Toledo?
I'm pulling it up right now. So, Kentucky Wildcats.
I know it was a tight game. I think Kentucky.
Yeah, 24-16 to Toledo.
Yeah.
Man, I'm gonna probably give that one to Ole Miss, honestly. So,
same here.
Yeah, I think Ole Miss is gonna. They handled business against Georgia State, man. Their offense looks pretty good against Georgia State, and obviously it's Georgia State. Man, once again, if you play teams like that and your offense shows out, I think that will say, that'll say a lot about your team going into the season. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna kind of go crazy on this one. I'm going to say 35-10, Ole Miss.
And then, Troy, what about the big Cy-Hawk Challenge next week? I believe is it Iowa State versus Iowa? I want to say that's next week, the big Cy-Hawk rivalry.
Is it already this early on?
Let me double check, but I want to say it is.
It is. I didn't realize it was this early in the season.
Usually rivalries are the last week, but
yeah,
they're not in the same conference, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, that is true, man.
They haven't lost yet, so
yeah, I will say. So Iowa State has 2 games under their belt. Obviously, one against Kansas State, who I thought's a pretty quality opponent. And then they handled business this weekend against FCS South Dakota. Iowa, they played an FCS school, Albany, but Iowa I don't care who you are, man. They don't have an exciting offense, but their defense is really good every year.
Iowa has a great
But
defense.
man, Iowa State's good. I'm gonna give that one to Iowa State. I do think it's gonna be a close battle though. I'm gonna say because like with Iowa, it could be a low scoring affair. Like I think I've witnessed them win like a 7-3 game one time. I can't remember who it was against, but it was something ridiculous. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and say 21-17 Iowa State. But I will say Coach Campbell, man, he's done a really good job with Iowa State. So I think this year they're pretty good. I mean, game one, their defense looked pretty good against Kansas State. So we'll see what happens.
Troy, didn't you say Rocco Becht is your GOAT? You have Heisman?
No, definitely. Hopefully that'll be Nessmeyer, but we'll see.
Yeah. No. But yeah, I have Iowa State winning too, Troy. I think it will be a low-scoring affair, but I have Iowa State beating Iowa 14-10. So.
Hang on, I got the little Micah trying to get in the room now. But you said you have them going up 14-10?
Yeah, I think Iowa State, I think they'll get a couple of touchdowns, and I don't know if Iowa will produce more than 10 points, so we'll see.
Yeah, no, like I said, man, it's kind of one of those weird games where they play tough defense and they don't put up a lot of points, and it's one of those classic sayings how defense wins championships. So I mean, literally, Iowa lives on that motto. But yeah, E2 wise, man, I think once again some games to watch. Western New Mexico University versus New Mexico Highlands. That's one that I'm going to follow up with. And I'm going to continue to follow up with this NSU Missouri SNT game as well. So I think also Fort Lewis College, they took a hard loss this past weekend against William and Jewel in the Kansas City area. Now, I think I want to see them bounce back because, man, these are one of those teams that you kind of just root for that haven't had a lot of success. And sometimes they'll go years without winning a game. So they're going to kick the season off against Arizona, I guess they're going to be away this year. And they're headed to Phoenix. And they're going to face off against Arizona Christian University. Arizona Christian, they've joined a new conference in the NAIA level, the Frontier Conference. In that conference, you have a lot of NAIA powerhouse teams, man. Like, you have Southern Oregon, Montana Western, Rocky Mountain College, Carroll College. So you got a lot of these smaller schools in the Montana, Idaho area. It's worth checking out. So Arizona Christian, I think, I'm probably going to be pulling for them. I want to see Fort Lewis keep it competitive, but I think Arizona Christian is going to walk out of that with a...
Troy, I know you're excited about that Virginia State versus Norfolk State.
Hey, man, Michael Vick, he made his coaching debut. So it was kind of a tough one this last week, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Troy loves those HBCU matchups, so we might have to feature a few on the show.
There's a couple that I'll follow up with, man. I think Arkansas Pine Bluff, I always root for those guys because it seems like they never win. But they kind of got their butts handed to them against Texas Tech. So, we'll see. I'm pulling for Michael Vick to get a couple wins his first season as a head coach, man.
Absolutely.
He's a legend in that Virginia area. So, hopefully he gets, I believe they're called the Spartans, Norfolk State Spartans. So hopefully he gets them going.
All right, Troy. Well, we've reached the end of our show, Troy. Do you have any wild hot takes or any predictions or anything crazy that you're expecting for next week? Or are you just going to kind of let it play out?
Just a kind of a good overview. I mean, week one, it was good football. And, even with all the smack talk, I didn't want to see Texas win, but also didn't want to see Ohio State win either. If, there's a way that they could walk out with a tie, that'd be great. But no, I thought there was a lot of good football. And one thing that I think is pretty cool is we're starting to see a lot of low-scoring matchups.
Yeah,
and
good defenses, right?
It's just good defense. And you know what I mean? Like, people are starting to adapt to all these, hybrid offenses. Because I think, back in, 2014 maybe, there was a college season where you're just seeing like Madden numbers thrown out there.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it was insane. So, especially in the Big 12, there was like no defense being played in the Big 12 at all one year. So it's kind of cool to see that, man. I mean, the 14, LSU, they won 17-10, but it was a fun game to watch the entire time. New Mexico State won 19-3. I wish they would have put up a couple more points. I would have felt better if it would have been more like to 35-3, and they had their chances to do so. But I'm just happy to see them pull out a win. Their defense looks good. Hopefully they can carry that momentum, beat University of Tulsa. That would be a great win for the program, a great win for Tony Sanchez. Following up with UTEP, they had a tough one against Utah State. But, man, I don't know if you followed up with UTEP's head coach yet, Scotty Walden, but I like him. I think UTEP needed someone like that to run the program just because UTEP has been pretty bland with their coaches in the past. So, man, Scotty Walden, he brings like a good energy to the program, and hopefully they can get some more fans in the stands. I mean, they have a beautiful facility, the Sun Bowl. Hopefully there's more fans that kind of get invested in the program.
Hey,
but
Troy.
What's up?
Hey, was it UTEP that they just got a new locker room, or they just revitalized their locker room and it's state of the art?
Yeah, no, they went ahead and they got that all taken care of. Now, in years past, man, like when Sean, what's his name, Sean Cougar, whenever he was there, they didn't have a lot of stuff. They didn't have a lot of nice stuff, but everything's kind of revamped there. I know the athletic director, he's investing into the UTEP program. So they got a good coach. I hope to see good things come from them this year. Same with New Mexico State. And I also want to see Jason Eck be successful too. So those are just a couple of schools that I'm going to follow up with this year. I like seeing a lot of schools, especially from the New Mexico area, do well just because college football wasn't very big down there, right? So, can you interrupt me? Yeah.
I'll edit that out, Troy. But
no.
Continue.
No, I'm just saying, like, yeah, you could probably edit all this part out right here, but
yeah. Well, that's it for the end of our show, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully soon we'll start dropping videos of me killing Troy on the college football video game. I believe, Troy, what is it, like 20-3?
No, I think I'm up on you like 12-9 or something like that.
No, I'm up 12-9. Stop playing.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually in the lead, but yeah. So we're excited to bring some more shows to everybody, and take care.
And hey, don't cut it just yet. If you are in the Las Cruces area this weekend, go to Aggie Memorial Stadium, watch the football game. It's going to be a good one. Support the Aggies. And if you're not in the New Mexico State area, do some research. Figure out what games are going on around you and go check one out. So support these kids at the D2 level. Support these kids at the NAIA level. And I guarantee you'll have fun. Why not show up to a game and, just check it out, root for somebody, and, give you something to do on the weekend.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. Support your local colleges. Support your local high schools. It means a lot to the players on both levels. So if you have a chance, take the family out, take them to a football game. It's just a good environment, a good atmosphere. With that being said, here's Chris and Troy, those guys, signing off. Thank you.